Welcome, welcome everyone. I am so excited that you have chosen to join us. And thank you, Dr. Elizabeth, for joining us today for our Stories of Hope series.
Well,
Mm,
thank you so much for having me here.
I'm excited to hear your story and share this with everyone.
Yeah,
So tell us a little bit about you. Introduce yourself to us and tell us a little bit about what you do as well, if you don't mind.
sure. So my name's Elizabeth Davidson. am a doctor of chiropractic and a functional medicine specialist and a clairvoyant, and I have a whole list of things that I throw into my work. I'm also a parent of a 15-year-old daughter, and we play a lot of music together, and we ski together and hike together. We live in Vermont, which is really beautiful. And what I do is I help people empower their immune systems. So
Mm.
whether they have a chronic illness or an autoimmune diagnosis, or just have a bunch of mystery symptoms that they can't figure out, and it's keeping them from living their best lives, I have my my protocol that I help them solve that with, and it's really simple and gives them a whole new outlook on life. I come from
Mm.
a background of having several chronic illnesses and autoimmune disorder and all of this stuff. So I've been working my whole life to solve these things. Like I started doing
Mhm.
elimination diets when I was 10. Like I was that
That
determined to
just
get well.
blows my mind.
So so yeah, now in my mid 40s, I feel better than I've ever felt. Yeah,
Yeah. Tell
that's the
us
short
more
version.
about that journey.
Oh,
10 years old and doing an elimination diet, that is humongous. I mean, for us oldsters, that's a challenge, much less somebody who's 10.
well, I was desperate, I'd been
Yeah.
having migraines since I was 4. I
Ah,
started having joint pain when I was 7,
mm,
and the summer I was 7 was the first year my little town had a playground, but I wasn't allowed to walk that summer because my hips were so inflamed, and I'd been taking all kinds of medications my whole
gosh.
childhood, and I recognized at that age that every time I took a medication, I felt worse.
Mhm,
And so I started refusing to take the medications
mhm.
and trying to figure out what was going on. And for
Yeah,
me, what I was putting into my body, I had already noticed that the medications made me feel worse. So what about the foods? So
yeah,
I started playing with that. I mean, I was fortunate that I grew up in a household where we didn't eat processed foods, like we grew most of our own foods and all of that, but still I figured it was worth playing around with. I'm always willing to experiment on myself.
yeah. Where did you even get the idea to do that? That's kind of advanced.
I think it was just intuition,
Mm,
nobody put it in
that.
my head,
Mhm,
but, just I've always been intuitive. I've done some deep training in intuition since then,
mhm.
but it was just my intuition to start trying other methods because
Mm,
the Western medical route was not working for me,
mhm.
and, I was missing 40 days of school a year. I couldn't do anything. Just couldn't do anything. And as a 10-year-old, you want to be doing stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or as a 40-year-old or whichever.
I love that. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So kind of draw the picture like through your teenage years and your young 20s. What was that like for you?
Um, it was a lot of searching. I still my health was getting worse. Migraines every day through my teen years.
Mhm.
Joint pain that eventually got diagnosed as fibromyalgia by the time I was in my early 20s. It had
Okay.
spread throughout my body. I didn't have any energy. My skin was a mess. Whenever I ate, I just prepared myself for excruciating pain because I knew it was going to hurt so bad to try to digest anything. I just felt
Yeah.
terrible all the time. It was really hard to make friends because I was always in this brain fog and
Mm,
just trying to make it through the day. So I was trying all kinds of things. I was trying,
yeah.
at 15, I got myself an acupuncturist. and an herbalist, and
Yes.
so he did Chinese herbs. They were so nasty. I remember having to soak all like boil all these nasty bitter herbs and drink those every day as like a teenager,
Yeah.
and it was so gross. And then I got myself a chiropractor, and then I was trying all kinds of naturopaths, and just
Hmm.
I knew that the Western medical model was not working.
Yeah.
So I was trying all these different things. I've tried every diet you can imagine.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
you name
Yeah.
it, I've tried it. Um, so yeah, it was just a lot of searching. And in my early 20s, I did discover a network chiropractor, which is really different. It's super gentle. There's no twisting or
Mhm.
cracking.
Good.
And as someone with fibromyalgia, twisting and cracking was really bad. I got really
Yeah.
injured by a chiropractor before that. Um, and the network chiropractor really did help. Like it got my headaches down to, less than every day. And
What a
so,
relief.
yeah, right. And so, after teaching school for a year, I went and got my chiropractic degree. And I decided I wanted to help people with network chiropractic.
Nice.
And, I was still studying nutrition constantly and all of
Yep.
that. But that seemed like the right move at the time. So,
Hmm.
so I did that in my 20s, got my doctorate, and
With brain
yeah,
fog.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes I wonder, like I did really well in school. I graduated
Hmm.
summa cum laude, and did fine, but it was hard work because I did have brain fog that whole time. And sometimes I
Yeah.
wonder like, what my life would have been like if I wasn't fighting against so much,
Yeah.
like having the brain fog, having the constant pain. I mean, in
Hmm.
ways it's a blessing because like I sure wasn't going out partying in college.
Yeah.
I was home and like eating,
Yeah.
fixing myself a healthy meal, taking a bath and going to bed by 9 because
Hmm.
that was all I could do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it's there are blessings to be found,
Yes.
but still curious what it would have been like to not feel
Yeah.
terrible for my whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you can relate to.
I was
So,
just gonna say, yeah, I totally relate
yeah.
because like when people would ask me, um, if you could look out ahead and just imagine what it would like to be well, what would
Mhm.
that feel like? I'm like, I have no idea. I've
Yeah.
never felt
Yeah.
good. So, there was no, I had nothing to relate it to. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally understand, I mean, as far back as I can remember, I have had migraines. So
Mm.
they're extremely rare now, like maybe once a year or every other year or something.
Oh, that's
Um,
huge. And you
So,
probably kind of have a good idea what causes it.
I mean, so many things. Like my mom had Pitocin when she was in labor with me.
Ah,
I certainly think that was a first cause. She was in her
mhm.
30s when she had me, and I was born in the 70s. So at that point, she was considered geriatric. So they
Hi.
just messed with
Put
her
her
a
on the
lot.
drip. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that, and then, every time, I grew up in the 80s. So antibiotics for everything.
Yeah.
Um, just those two things alone can cause all kinds of problems. Anyone
Absolutely.
who's taken antibiotics, their gut health got ruined, even if it
Yeah.
was just once. If you grew up in the
Mhm.
80s, you probably took them at least twice a year.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
So when did you start to see measurable change in how you were feeling? And like, what did that look like when you started to go, oh my, this is starting to change for me? What was happening? What were your choices there?
That first measurable change was when I saw the network chiropractor, and the next day I didn't have a headache. I was like, "What just happened?" Because I was 20 I think I was 20 then, and I had had a headache as long as I could remember.
Yeah.
Like, I know I had them starting at 4, but who remembers before they're 4? I don't know.
Right.
So I didn't know the difference really. I'd had a headache that long, and so to wake up one morning without a headache, it's like, okay, so there's hope.
Yeah.
Like, to find hope
Mhm.
finally was amazing
Mhm. Yeah.
because I also had a lot of dread growing up. I'm like, if I feel this crappy when I'm a teenager and people are telling me these are the best years of my life, so I should be smiling. It's
And you're
like,
going, "Yeah, right, mister." Yep.
um, but really, I was like, if these are the best years of my life, then I'm done. I don't want to be here
Yeah. Oof.
because it sucked.
That's
I
heavy for a
I
teenager.
hated being alive.
Yeah.
And
Oof.
yeah, so to have things start to shift was good. I mean, not going to say like everything changed and I was well because it
Yeah.
took a lot more.
Mhm.
And really, the big changes have just come in the past few years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Tell me about those.
um, well, COVID happened and I closed my chiropractic office that I'd had for years. I had a family chiropractic practice and started looking for other things to do because
Yeah.
it was hard to touch people at that point.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
and who knows how long it was going to last, like just didn't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So I was already in a clairvoyant program at that point.
Okay.
So that was a big piece of things, and really tuning into your intuition can do a
Mhm.
lot for you.
Yep.
And so I completed that in 2021. And around the same time, I completed the functional blood work training.
Yes.
So I got certified in functional blood work, which just gave me a whole new view on how to look at things,
Yep.
um, and a whole new way to help people. So,
Exactly.
always helping myself first, but
Mhm.
figured out a lot from there. And so created my protocols that I use to help people solve whatever's going on for them.
Mhm. Yeah.
And yeah, so what that looked like for me personally was I started being in less pain.
Yeah.
Um, oh, one of the first things that happened is I started sleeping.
Yeah.
Like I I didn't realize how great sleep was because
It's a
I have
gift.
never really done it before.
Mhm.
Like I never napped as a kid. I never slept through the night. Um, like I would wake up to pee like 4 or 5 times a night and I would have
Mhm.
nightmares, and so I was
Mhm.
never sleeping. Of course, now I know that those are symptoms of things that I can find in people's blood work. If
Yep.
only I had known what I
Yep.
knew.
Exactly.
No. So yeah, I started sleeping. So my pain levels started going down, which is amazing to be in less pain. Like,
Oh,
you know, I was at the point where just all my joints hurt all the time.
yeah.
Right? And I mean, not just talking like knees and hips or whatever, but it's everything.
Yeah.
Every spinal joint. There are 24 spinal joints. Every
Mhm.
cranial joint. There are
Yep.
22 bones in your skull. All the joints between those hurt.
Yep.
My shoulders, my elbows, my wrists, my hands. Like for a while there, I couldn't even close my hands past. Like I couldn't
Ooh.
make a fist.
Yep.
I'm okay now.
I
Um,
love that. Oh.
So all that started to shift when I um, looked into my blood work and fixed what was going on in there, which a lot of what I find in there is related to gut health,
Mhm.
um, other things too, adrenal health, but all
Yep.
of it's connected. Adrenals, gut, everything's all connected with your hormones and all of that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Um, oh yeah, I'd never had like my hormones were always all over the place too. So all that's totally normal now. I was definitely having lots of perimenopausal symptoms in my late 30s and early 40s. And then I don't have any of those anymore now that I'm getting closer to 50. I don't have any
Right.
of that. All that's completely normal. So,
I love that.
or completely comfortable. Normal is kind of a swear word for me.
Yeah. Oh, I get that one.
Yeah.
Like having terrible periods is normal. Nah, it's really not.
Yeah, and people having all kinds of crazy symptoms and then being told their blood
Mhm.
work is normal. So it's
Mhm.
probably just anxiety or it's all in their head. They just need to reduce stress. Oh yeah, and then
Good luck
back
with that.
on the period thing, like PMS is normal. Well, no, it is not.
No, it's not.
Yeah, there
Oh,
and I find especially for women, if they have all these multiple symptoms that are kind of I don't know if vague is the right word, but hard to diagnose, like, or hard to figure
mhm.
out what's going on, like the headaches and fatigue and
Yep.
brain fog and joint pain that's not related to an injury
Yeah.
and PMS, all of these things, those are kind of considered normal for women. And so we tend to get brushed off because
Yeah.
it's just all in our heads. We just need to reduce stress and no,
Mm-mm.
there's a reason for all of that.
I love that you just said that.
Yeah.
Thank you. There is always a reason, and we
Yeah.
can know the reason,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
can
And then
affect the reason.
yeah, I mean, once you find a cause, there's a
Yep.
solution.
Yeah.
So, and it's not that hard to find either. Like
Isn't that
looking at
cool?
someone's case history and matching it up with what's going on in their blood work
Exactly.
and then connecting it with their symptoms and I mean
Yep.
the cause is not it's not that mysterious, really. And yeah, once we find the cause, solve it.
Yep.
Just a puzzle.
I love it.
I
So
love
where are you
puzzles.
now with your, like, how do you feel now? Give us kind of a rundown of because the last symptoms that you had were just every joint in the body just hurt like all the time. So where are you
Yeah.
now?
I mean, overall, like, well, I wouldn't say I have fibromyalgia anymore. I don't have
Yeah.
migraines anymore. It doesn't hurt to eat anymore.
Food
When
is
I
such a gift.
like I remember the first time I ate and it didn't hurt and but I was ready for it, I was ready for
Oh
that
yeah.
pain because I would just prepare for it and I was like
Yeah.
ready to be in excruciating pain. And then I wasn't. I was like, what what?
What just happened?
So I can eat, I don't always have as much energy as I want to have. I don't, I still pee at night more than I want to, but it's not 4 or 5 times anymore. It's like twice.
Excellent.
um, no, like overall, I'm so much better. And I
Mm.
don't consider that a loss because, there's no limit to how healthy we can be.
I
So it's
know. I love that.
isn't that fun? Like that I don't feel like there's any like marking point where you're like, I've made it, you know? Like, okay, I feel who knows how many percentage points better than I felt when I was a 7-year-old.
Oof. Yeah,
But there's no limit on how much healthier I can be. Like
exactly.
and oh, one of my pet peeves is when people are like, well, it's just normal for my age, or it's just part of aging. I'm like, no, 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 no. If you keep building your health, it should consistently get better no matter how
Exactly.
old you are. If you keep
Exactly.
putting the good stuff in, if you keep your mindset really good, if you keep getting the right support,
Exactly.
if you keep believing in
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
there's no limit to how healthy you can be. And I mean, I see that as someone who is healthier, feels better at 46 than I did at 4 or 7 or 11
Mm.
or any of those ages when you're supposed to be feeling good. Um, I'm supposed to be on the downslope now.
And you're on the up.
Oh, totally.
I
And
know. Me too.
so, yay.
I so get this conversation.
And so that's one of the, a lot of my clients have been to their medical doctors and tried to figure it out through that route. And they've been told that it's just normal for their age. It's just part of aging. I'm like, no,
No, no,
no. You can always get well. You can always get better.
exactly.
So
Love
that's what I'm
that.
working on. Still getting better. Still
Love it.
noticing things and like, oh, well, it's all part of the process.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
And raising a kid who doesn't have any health problems is pretty amazing because
That's
she's got
huge.
my genetics, which
Hmm.
I can get into some genetic stuff, and we don't have a ton of time for that, but I certainly have
Hmm.
a zillion mutations in my MTHFR sequence and in my
Ah,
COMT sequence, and I'm guessing that
okay.
you're familiar with those
Yes.
terms. Like, I didn't have a very good slate of things to work with.
No wonder it hurt to eat.
Yeah. But my daughter, you know, she's grown up with me and she obviously
Hmm.
has half my genetics,
Yep.
but she doesn't have any health problems. She's never missed a
What
day
a
of school for
gift.
being sick.
Yeah, that's huge.
Mm, yeah. And at 15, I was suicidal, honestly. And
Yeah.
she's like happier than she's ever been. She thanks me for bringing her into the world. And um,
Mm.
she she sleeps so well and wakes up energized and she's so creative and I think I have a good memory and then I talk to her and she remembers everything. She just blows me away and that she is working with very similar genetics to mine.
Hmm.
I am doing as well as she is. I'm like, okay, I've done something right here.
Exactly.
She's
Exactly.
never had a medication, never ever.
Hmm.
So,
I love that. Ah,
yeah.
ah,
And she was born in a cabin in the woods. So
so awesome. So awesome. Yeah.
So that's like
So,
the
of
proof for me too. Like I know my health still has work for sure,
course.
but
Yeah.
but the proof that I'm doing things right is in her, starting
Yeah.
fresh and just
Hmm.
maintaining all the health that she has. It's been
I love
beautiful to
that.
watch.
Yeah. I like to say we get our genetics from our parents,
Mhm.
but how we choose to live, like the genetics are there, they're there.
Yep.
But 80% of what happens to them and how they express, it's our choice. It's what we do,
Yeah. The
how we choose
genetics
to
are the
live.
blueprint. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I got to meet Bruce Lipton early on in my graduate school career.
Oh,
And
very fun.
so you sound like you're familiar with Bruce's work.
Been there. Yep.
Yeah. Um,
Yep.
yeah,
Oh gosh.
he came to my grad school to present.
That is so
So,
cool.
yeah.
I love that.
Hmm.
So, what would you share with somebody right now that is listening and they're thinking, okay, this is great. You guys are looking amazing. You're glowing, all the things, but I'm not. How do what are first steps that you would share with somebody who has had a lifetime of not being well and is watching this and going, oh, I wish that was me.
Oh, I mean, finding the right person to help, I think
Yeah.
is a really big thing. And how I look at it is if you've gone to your medical doctor and they've told you it's all in your head or they've just prescribed a medication even though they don't really know what's going on. And
Yeah.
if you're not glowing when you come out of there with the confidence that you feel in what they've done for you, then
Yeah.
you need another opinion.
Yeah.
And what's great about what you're doing with this series is that you're getting those people out there who can give that other opinion.
Exactly.
And and for me, like with my work, it just starts with a conversation.
Yeah.
Like someone can contact me, we set up a conversation, work with people anywhere. I have
Yep.
clients all over the world because thanks to this Zoom thing.
Yes.
And it starts with a conversation just to see if we're a good fit and
Yeah.
if we want to work together. And
Yeah.
maybe they want to work with me. Maybe they want to work with you. Maybe they want to work with someone
Mhm.
else that we know. But
Mhm. Yeah.
there's support out there. There's hope. Just
Exactly.
never lose hope.
Exactly.
Finding the right help is amazing because there's so much misinformation.
Exactly.
And we're all so intuitive, and I think that we can
Mhm.
get
Yeah.
lost in the system,
Mhm.
just because we
Yeah.
lose trust in ourselves. But if you can keep that trust in yourself
Exactly.
and just tune in with your intuition whenever a doctor or a person or whomever says
Yeah.
something about your health, tells you something you should try or something you should do. Because, if you say that you have this or that symptom, then everyone and their cousin's going to tell you to take this vitamin D or take this amazing mushroom supplement or like
Yep.
CBD gummies or what. Don't do this. So much sugar.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and really check in with your intuition on if that feels right
Exactly.
for you. And if it doesn't feel 100%,
Walk away.
walk away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Find something that feels 100%,
Exactly.
and that's going to put you on the right path. So,
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Because we have so much wisdom in our bodies. And a lot of times when we've
so
had a
much.
lifetime of sickness, we forget to lean into that or we've lost trust in that.
Yeah, one thing I always try to remind people of is how much brilliance you have in your body. And one way I do it is particularly for the moms, like, okay, so you grew a person in your
Exactly.
body. I think you can heal your fill in the blank, you know? And even if they didn't grow a person yet, or if they never plan to,
Yeah.
they're digesting their food every day.
Yeah.
They're doing so many things that we don't
Yeah.
even have to think about. I mean, they grew from a baby to who they are now
Right.
without having to like plan it or make
Mm-hmm.
sure it was doctor approved or anything.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
So we have so much brilliance, and to really trust that
Exactly.
is
Yeah.
a huge step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your
Well, thanks
story.
for having me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love this series because we get to hear from so many different people whose lives weren't so fun, but
Mm,
have come
yeah.
out the other side, learning from that
Mhm.
and becoming just vibrant and filled with life and filled with hope. And a lot of times when we get to see that, even if we're in the dark side, if we're in the not so fun side of
Mhm.
being not well or unwell, we can look and see that honestly, people have been where you are and worse and found their way to wellness. And
Mhm.
if they can do it, you can too.
Yeah, and then coming out of it, like, I just have so much gratitude for my experience
Oh,
too,
me too.
even though it was miserable, but so much
Mhm.
gratitude because now I do have such a deep trust in myself and I can help
Exactly.
so many people.
Exactly.
And if I hadn't been so sick for most of my life, I wouldn't have that experience.
I know. Yeah.
So here I am.
Somebody asked me a couple years ago, it wasn't very long ago, asked me if I considered multiple sclerosis one of the greatest blessings in my life.
Mm,
And when they asked me that question, I was like, blank, no.
mm,
But as I started to think into it, I was like, you know what? The answer is yes.
mm,
Just like you said just now, if we didn't walk this road of not being well, we wouldn't know what it felt like, number one.
mhm,
Number two, we wouldn't know what the road to wellness felt like with all the tips and turns and uncertainties and fears and new things and well, everything that comes with it. But neither would we have such an abundant gratitude for every morning we get to get up and face a
Mhm.
new day, like for you without a migraine and
Yeah.
without so much pain, and be able to look forward to breakfast without going, well, this one's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
I get to swing out of bed and put my feet on the floor and I get to feel the floor. Nobody has to help me stand up. I get to be just like everybody else. Everything works.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
wonderful.
What a blessing.
My my network chiropractor that I saw through college had recovered from multiple sclerosis
Yeah.
also. And yeah,
We're out there.
the joy and peace in her, like she's someone that you just want to sit next to whenever you see her. Just snuggle up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, my dear. Thank you so much for sharing today. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
welcome. I hope
So
to chat again soon.
I think we just might do that.
Yeah.
I love it. So for everyone listening,
Mhm.
you can tap in and chat with Dr. Elizabeth where?
So my website is drelizabethdavidson.com. No
Perfect.
weird spellings. And that's similar on Facebook and on Instagram. It's Dr.
Excellent.
Elizabeth VT because I'm in Vermont. And yeah, I think I'm pretty findable. Dr. Elizabeth,
Perfect.
I use that for the most part.
I love it. I love it. So if you listen to this recording once and you want to listen to it again, you can find it in our Vimeo library. Go to autoimmunerecovery.org, select library in our little drop down menu across the top of the website, and just scroll down through. You'll find Stories of Hope, and you can find this conversation again. Thank you so much for joining us and have an amazing rest of your day. Take care and we'll talk soon.